Hey everyone, want to continue our conversation, and I hope it's a conversation. I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts. Thank you for being respectful, but I am open to hearing what you think as we continue talking about the liabilities of whiteness. As we think about ourselves as so-called white people, right? I had talked about that race is not real. That's one of the things that we believe, but that is not true. Race is not biological. It is not genetic. We are all 99.9% the same, all 8 billion of us on the planet, although we get tricked because we look different. But we are all one family, and this social construction of race was created to create this racial hierarchy in the Americas, right? In the United States specifically. My knowledge and understanding, because this is the only place I've ever lived, to understand, we've been the majority, right, as so-called white people, the majority of this country for a long time. It certainly wasn't that way when our European ancestors arrived. There were millions and millions of indigenous people all over Turtle Island, all over these ancestral lands. But we have been the global majority. We have been not the global majority. White people have been the majority, in population of this country. But people of European descent are, I think it's 10, 12% of the world, that of the global majority are Black, Indigenous people of color. Of all 8 billion of us, if we were to think about it as, again, the so-called racial identity, white people are in the world, the minority. In this country, we have been the majority, and whiteness has made us believe, or almost restricts us. Restricts us from really understanding the world in which we live, where we think we are an exceptional part of, right? That whiteness has really skewed our thinking and understanding of the world and this country and how it actually works, especially if we don't even understand white supremacy and don't understand the ideology, the systems that we live in, the interpersonal, the intrapersonal, right? What's called the 4 eyes of oppression in this country. And here we are, part of the majority so-called white people in this country, and we don't even understand the systems that we live in, that the systems that are working around us. And again, that's not to put any shame, blame, because it's by design that you don't know, that we don't know and understand the ideology of white supremacy, and maybe really has never even thought about, right? Because again, that's the design as the majority population, that whiteness was designed for white people to have access, to have opportunity, to not have to think about how you walk through the world. And that was, again, sort of the short end of the stick for Black people, Indigenous people, and other people of color. And that's why I think it's so important that we really think about this as a liability. I know it was for me to grow up and not understand till I was, in my 30s, to understand white supremacy, to understand the ideology and the white supremacist, patriarchal, Christian, racist, capitalist system that we have, that I did not understand did not understand how the systems worked, how education was set up. I had no idea going to predominantly white schools, and my high school was part of the longest running desegregation program in the country called METCO. And so we had thousands of black children that were bused from Boston into predominantly white towns. I had no idea why that was happening. And I never even asked. Never even asked. It never even thought my mind, like, why are all these black children coming in on that one bus or two buses and going to school in a town where they don't live? And I never even asked the question. No one even told me what it was. There was never any conversation. We were certainly friends. Well, I would guess I would put that in quotes, because I would wonder if we really were friends. I think as white people, we might have thought we were friends. Maybe some of us were able to make connections. But again, when you don't understand how you walk the world differently than white people, than people of color, than black and brown people, as a white person, I just don't understand how you can truly have a connection across race. It's sort of, again, it just goes back into how can they really trust us? How can they really share with us? There must be so much fear. There must be so much, again, misunderstanding. I remember, when my son was probably in 8th grade, as a young black boy, would say, "Mom, you know what, these white kids just don't understand me. They want to put me in a box. They think that I can be, this, and this, and I'm not any of those things. And they just can't even see past that." And that's always stayed with me. And it's such a liability because my son is amazing. And I think about all the white children who never knew him, never had a connection, never had a friendship. Because again, we just live in this reality that we truly don't understand. And again, it's by design. So it's something that we really have to take ownership of and really have our motive, right? I've talked about what is your motive to strive to be anti-racist. Is your motive to understand so you can literally have a conversation with someone across race who walks the world differently than you? And again, you might not ever understand. I'm not saying that you can ever walk the world of a person of color and experience what they're experiencing, but can you have that level of empathy and compassion, not to deflect, not to diffuse, not to deny, but to actually listen and understand and have compassion for that person, right? And then use our privileges, use our ability and our knowledge to speak to other white people, especially if they say something that is not rooted in peace and justice and that might hurt another person of color. Can we use that knowledge both in our continued relationships, hopefully, if we're given that opportunity and gift to be friends across race? And then how do we use that in talking and speaking and connecting to other white people, that they understand that until we are honest, until we are, again, really just think about the love that we must have for ourselves. We have to have love for ourselves in order to connect to anybody else and be there in a way that we need to show up.